live and pre-recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on December 7th to hit the internets on December 8th. If you're new to the show, you can always listen on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Today is a special episode. Normally, this would be a Tuesday podcast where I rant and rave about things. I'm going to let other people do the ranting and raving. After the big Giants-Jets matchup on this past Sunday, I have Mark Baldwin, a big Giants fan, and Simon from Yonkers he's a large Jets fan. And we go over the game, we dissect it, we talk, and the world is bliss afterwards. So everyone take a listen, and enjoy. So the Jets took on the Giants on Sunday, and it was a 23-20 victory in overtime. We have two super fans on here. Mark Mongo representing the Giants. Mark, welcome to the Red Ticket Blues podcast. A friend of the podcast. We've all heard him before. Mark Mongo, how are you?
Brian, good to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. And another returnee, is that a word? Simon from Yonkers, our our Jets fan. Simon, how are you?
Thanks for having me, Brian. Feels good to be here.
Oh, it feels good all around. I mean, it's just great. So let's start. Well, Mark, you field this one first. Is there an actual rivalry with this team, or is this just a fan-based, or fan-driven, whatever?
I think it's for the fans mostly, but with the NFL, there's only 16 games. Each one of them is as important as the next one. You have to show your chops in every single one, and this week proved it because both teams, while mediocre at in an extent, they both needed this game massively, and in the middle of a Week 13 scenario, it was a big game. So I think it's for the fans, but I think in past years the rivalry has been a little bit bigger, and I think that was demonstrated 4 years ago. So I think it's for the fans, and I think in any NFL game, if the players aren't up for it and ready to go and smash the other team down, then they're not prepared. They're not an NFL team.
That's right. I agree with that. Simon, thoughts?
It is for the fans mostly because they share the stadium, the whole big brother, little brother dynamic. The players were getting into it on Sunday. You saw Willie Colon on the sideline. You saw guys smashing helmets into each other. There was no love lost there. And if you look back at some of the articles that were written this week, you saw Don Maynard talking about how beating the Giants in a preseason game was bigger than winning Super Bowl III.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it. Calm down, Donnie. I mean, Jesus. But, it could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. LT was on the back page of the Daily News this week saying, "We own New York." It could bring out different emotions. It's like the Subway Series. It might mean more to some people than to some other players, but I do think it's more than just the fans. I think the players are very much into it as well.
No, I think you're both right. And Simon, you brought up the point that they share the building. I don't care who you are. That has to something. You know what I mean? Even in like high school and sharing the gym with the girls basketball team. Nothing against girls basketball. I'm all for women's sports. But, just being like, it's our time to practice. Get off the field. It's just sort of maybe that's a terrible comparison, seeing that's, scholastic sports in Class S Connecticut and not, Major League football. But that's my comparison, my analogy, so I don't care. How long have both of you, we'll start with Mark. How long have you been a Giants fan? Birth, or is this something, you get as a kid?
You just get it as a kid. I mean, my family is not a big football family. I kind of, but in 80, Super Bowl 21, everybody got wrapped up in that. And I was like 7, 8 years old. It was right after the Mets had won the World Series. And so, I followed along and, love my team, Big Blue. I mean, they've given me a lot of good times. I will tell you, 2000 broke my heart, even though it was 2001 when they lost to the Ravens. That was a rough one to take and digest. But baseball's always been my biggest sport, but football and the Giants have always had a place there too. So,
Simon, what poor soul got you into the Jets?
Oh, I have a first cousin who was like the only football fan in my entire family. He was a Jets fan. The first season I started watching was 1998, and that was a crazy season. Testaverde came on the scene. They went all the way to the AFC Championship game, blew it at Mile High Field, but they were so great. They went 12-4. You're thinking, wow, this is going to happen forever. And then week 1 of 99, Villy blows out his Achilles heel, and the Jets have, kind of been picking up the pieces ever since.
So Simon, just to cut in there real quick. So Simon, you said the Jets lost in the AFC Championship game the first year you watch them. So you have a long history of that happening. It's not just that year.
It's 0 for 3, and each and every time I was stupid enough to think that they were going to win. Every time they actually had a legitimate chance to win, but they did Jets things, and they
did Jets
subsequently didn't win those games.
Jets are going to jet.
That Jets are going to jet. I would be one of those people that's just happy to get to the Super Bowl. I'm totally one of those people. They don't even have to win it. I'm happy just going there.
So, you're gonna change your tune if they actually do. So go ahead, Brian.
100%. So I mean, we talk of good seasons, we talk of bad seasons. The Giants, Jets, both coming off seasons where disappointing to say the least. What were your expectations? We'll start with Simon here. What were your expectations going into this year? Todd Bowles, new team, new regime. Well, not really a new team, but new regime, I should say. What were your expectations going in this year for you personally?
Well, I like the hires in the front office, and I like Bowles. I was pretty optimistic just because they actually had organizational structure for once. And they actually were returning a pretty solid team. This isn't a young, up-and-coming team. This is a pretty veteran-laden team. You see Cromartie, Harris, Harrison, guys like that on defense, along with Richardson and Muhammad Wilkerson. So, and that's the number one rushing defense right now. You look on offense, they have two weapons with Marshall and Decker. So it's not a team that was rebuilding. They just didn't have a quarterback. You were expecting to go on the fly with Fitzpatrick, hope that he doesn't screw up too much, kind of like that Mark Sanchez thing, run the ball, play defense, maybe go 8-8, 9-7, which they're kind of still on the course to do. So that's what I thought. I thought they were going to finish with a mediocre to okay record, maybe sneak into the playoffs and steal a game, and we're right on track for that. So.
Yeah, seems to be coming to fruition. Mark, your thoughts on the G-Men?
I was skeptical coming into the season. I mean, I think, even Francesco was saying on the air today, he thought, Coughlin should have been done after last season. And I kind of had the same idea that it's time for a new voice. And I was a little concerned, then a little optimistic. They did make some good acquisitions. Eli had his best statistical year of his career last year. A lot of people don't realize that, but if you look at his completion percentage and stuff like that, you thought that with Cruz coming back healthy and they could finally get Beckham and Cruz on the field at the same time. They only played 1.5 games together last year. And when you looked at the way that Beckham came on the stage, and you get Cruz back, it was looking rosy. It looked like it could have gone either way. I mean, that could have been an amazing combination, and it didn't work out. Cruz, I don't know what the medical staff did over there or what the heck ended up happening, and they misdiagnosed it. It seemed like they could have had, if the calf, I guess it's a muscle. It is what it is. I'm not.
It is a muscle. That is correct.
Okay? I'm going to call Doc O'Brien over here, but
he's busy Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to call him at 10:00. It was disappointing in that regard. But, you hold out hope. And, I mean, God, they have the most garbage division we've seen since the NFC South a couple of years ago. So they're still not dead. And as we speak, the Cowboys are here to try to come and help us, which is a bizarre situation. So coming in, I was 50-50. And with, everybody always you sit there preseason and you tick down, okay, that's a win, that's a loss. You go down the schedule, and I'd go through it and I'd take a certain approach and say, hey, never know. You could be 10-6. And then if you go back through it with a little bit of a pessimistic approach, you could be 6-10. I mean, it's the NFL. Any team, you can almost do that with almost any team nowadays, which is just crazy. The way the parity or the maybe mediocrity of the league in general is it's changed. It's much different than years past.
You bring up wins and losses. Coming into this game, the Giants coming off a 20-14 loss to Washington. And the Jets, coming up a 28-20 win against the Dolphins. Mark, for this game specifically, what were you thinking the Giants could do? Did you think, fuck it, this is a victory? Or did you think, well, this is going to be rough?
I thought, fuck it was a victory, as you said. No, I'm just kidding. No, I thought with the injuries to the offensive line, my thinking coming into this game was, don't let Eli get killed and just, ravaged over, because that was quite a possibility. And the Jets got to him in that game, not as much as I had thought. I think that there was a lot of guys that stepped up. I thought that the defensive line has been doing good. I think the defense has kind of rallied around JPP. So I didn't think that the Jets would have as good of an attack as they did, because Fitzpatrick had a hell of a game. so I was hoping that those two things the universes would come together, and you could eke out like a 2 or 3 point victory. But I wasn't as much as the shit talking that I did on Twitter to Simon. Let's put it that way.
Simon, let's talk about that shit talking. Let's talk about what you thought about this game.
Okay, well, you said it at the beginning of the show. It was two piles of mediocrity playing each other. And I really did think it was going to come down to a special teams play or a turnover. So when Dwayne Harris took it to the house, I was like, this game is done, I thought it was going to be a close game right up to the very end. This game actually matched my expectation. I thought it was going to be close scoring. I thought there was going to be sloppy plays with a little bit of exciting thrown in there, and we saw that with Beckham's touchdown, the aforementioned return for the touchdown, the Jets picking off Eli. There was some big plays made to kind of even out the bad play, so it did actually match what I think was going to happen.
Well, those are fair assessments from two fair, bright men. Getting in, do you like that? Before
wow.
I'm sure you'll all that those nice words, compliments. That was good, right? Before we get into some gameplay, final question here: where'd you guys watch the game? Simon, where were you?
I was actually at a buddy's house, a Giants fan, in fact,
Ooh.
and I was sitting right next to him, and I shrieked as soon as Brown missed the field goal, and I was doing a victory lap right outside.
I like how you
dancing
admitted that you shrieked.
I was calling him a loser. I was tugging on my jersey. I thought I won the Super Bowl. To me, I don't even care how many kids I have. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. So I was quite, and also I did a lot of trash talking on Twitter, as you both well know. So I kind of needed to keep my credibility intact. Jets needed to win that game, and boy, did they back me up. So,
Mark,
I watched the game at my home. My kids were here. I was hanging out with my middle son, who's the more sports-oriented one of the group, and my son Connor. And we were kind of hanging out. We went out before the game. I was getting pumped up. We went out and played two-hand touch football in the street for an hour before the game. And I'm sit down. I get ready to go. I'm getting ready to do the witching hour and watch the 1 o'clock games as we all do. And I'm all excited and the game's going well, and so I watched it here, and we were supposed to be going to my parents for dinner, and usually that means all right, 4 o'clock, 4:15, games wrap up, time to go. Overtime hits, so I'm sitting here my mom's calling me, you guys coming up for Sunday dinner, and I just sat there and watched that ball go wide left. It was just brutal. I was speechless. I was in a catatonic state there. I mean, it was. I said, you know what? I'm turning off the Twitter. I'm not going to look at it again for a while. And then I just went and had a nice dinner and just completely forgot about it because I had to. And I was telling Brian earlier, Simon, I'm really glad I didn't agree to do this Sunday night because it would have been really bad. You would have just heard, it would have been me Mark, are you there? And then it would have been what that, it would just be me with outbursts about how bad this team was. Bad that game was.
You and I had two completely different experiences because I was doing the electric slide. I got right on Twitter, started trash talking. I had Jets balloons. It was actually amazing. The Jets balloons are still there on Twitter for anybody who wants to say.
Well, I did see those, unfortunately, but thanks. Yeah.
So it sounded like a happy slice of Americana in the Baldwin home turned into a nightmare in just a matter of a few hours.
Right, and then I immediately went back and tried to...
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my God, are you offended? Are you all right?
This guy's catatonic.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just had a flashback to yesterday at 4:30. Yeah, no, it is what it is. And I just decided, I'm going to put it all behind and I'm going to go have a nice meal with my family and not think about it. And it was good. So that's sometimes you can't take it too seriously. You can't let it get involved with everything else in your life. So that's what I did.
You only say that when you lose, because when you win, you party, you hang out, you drink. This is great. That's it doesn't matter.
Of course.
That's what the losers say. When you win, it's never just a game. It's awesome. I'm just making a point.
Yeah, this is coming from someone, Simon, who has a lot of experience with that. So I take your word for it, buddy.
I know. I was missing the playoffs 6 out of the last 7 seasons. I know. Good. Nice experience you have there. Put that on your resume.
So there were 2 plays
so
yesterday.
Much for nice, reasonable guys, Brian. You mushed that scenario.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Jesus Christ. There were 2 plays yesterday that, they didn't really actually have an effect on the final score or the game whatsoever. But 2 plays. One by the Jets, Willie Colon talking shit on the sidelines to Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie for a 15-yard penalty, negating a 17-yard gain for Decker. And You have Odell Beckham kicking the ball, and after the game, he still didn't see any problem with it. Again, it didn't affect the game, but what was the more bonehead play, in your opinion? We'll go with Simon.
The more bonehead play is Willie Colon, because you're not even in the game. You're not active. You're out for the season. Keep your mouth shut. You know you're going to get a penalty for that. And that's like undisciplined stuff that they did under Rex Ryan that you were hoping would be gone under Todd Bowles. And they picked the worst time to implode yesterday in that kind of situation. But regarding both penalties, they're absolutely ridiculous. This is professional football. These guys are emotional. They're charged up. Even Odell kicking the ball, you can't cost these guys yardage on something as small and minute as that. What is this, youth league sports? It was an overtime. The guy kicked the ball. That's going to affect the game. That's completely stupid. I hope the next commissioner takes care of that because that's idiocy.
Odell Beckham said, if I would have thrown it back, I really don't see the difference. If you kick the ball back, it's not like screaming F-bombs or kicking the ball back. You kick it back to the huddle. We go over to the 4th and 2 play. I really don't think it's a penalty, but it's not my job to make calls. Will you shut the fuck up? Stop kicking the football. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. That's ridiculous. Mark, which one did you think was more ridiculous?
I'm gonna play the party line. I'm gonna say they were both ridiculous, but I mean Simon had more of a problem with the guy on his own team, and that makes sense. And that Cologne thing was dumb, but the Beckham thing was really bad. And I'll tell you right now, he was recruited to be on the U.S. men's national soccer team. He was a soccer player. So if he wants to go freaking play soccer, go play soccer. You're not a punter. You're not a punter or a field goal. You're not a punter or a place kicker. Go if you want to go kick ball. I'll tell you right now, if he doesn't make that catch on the next play, goes down as one of the most horrible penalties. And I have to say, I hate to keep putting it back to Mike, but Mike said today, this is not a Tom Coughlin team. Mike, the guy who cuts the meat at my butcher shop.
Yeah.
Mike Francesa, come on.
Yeah, that's right. Tom Coughlin, he doesn't coach the team anymore. But the problem was he doesn't know.
No, but it's not under his control. This is not the type of discipline that the Giants exude, and that's what he meant. I mean, Mike can just platitude it out. There's, can Beckham be Beckham or can blah blah blah, but this is not that type of team. And it was funny because I was after class tonight. I was driving home and Carl Banks. Oh, sorry, I don't want to get very, very particular. I'm sorry. People that I've met and am close friends with, I just refer to in the first person.
Oh, obviously.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not Brian. So Carl actually referred back to that tonight. Carl Banks on the Monday night pregame show that he really took. He said, you know what? It makes sense. They're not playing disciplined and hard nosed, and for Beckham to kick that ball like that, it was just I mean, maybe it speaks to the intensity of the game, like we talked about earlier, that they really do want to win this game. And maybe it's not just because it's the Jets. Maybe it's because their season was on the line yesterday and Beckham really wants to perform. But you got to be smarter than that. He has to be smarter than that.
I don't care how intense he is. Exactly. He's got to be so much smarter than that. Just ridiculous. Speaking of Beckham, we never got to see the dream matchup, the Darrelle Revis-Beckham going against each other. You think Revis would have made a difference in this game? I mean, Beckham's line here: 6 catches, 149 yards, 1 touchdown. We'll go to Simon here. I mean, Revis isn't what he used to be. Do you think he would have made that much of a difference on this just up-and-coming player that is possibly the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I don't really think he would have made much of a difference if you saw that touchdown, which I called. I said it as soon as it happened. I said, please don't throw a slant to Beckham because he has that speed. He's just going to be out. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. I just don't think he would have made that much of a difference. The secondary played well. All things told, considering they were down Marcus Colvin, and they were also down, not Marcus Colvin. I'm going back in time. And Revis.
That's okay. Details are at a luxury on the Red Ticket Blues podcast.
Their secondary was in tatters, and Cromartie actually stepped up and had a very good game. Whenever he was in man-on-man coverage, he didn't lose a step. That's usually because he's always tugging and grabbing, but as long as the refs don't say it, nobody cares. Nobody was going to stop Beckham. Nobody on their best day stops Beckham. He's truly an elite talent, and I wish he played for the Jets.
So, Mark, everything outside of that last sentence, do you agree with that?
Everything aside from the last sentence? Why?
Simon said he wished he played
I mean,
for the Jets.
It's hard to. Oh well, yeah, I bet. He doesn't. I agree with what he said. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what Revis is now. I mean, especially coming off the concussion. I mean, he obviously wasn't ready to play. He's not who he used to be. He's not the Revis when he was with the Jets the first time. So who knows? I mean, it would have been nice to see. I mean, it would have been a great matchup, and I love seeing those corner wide receiver elite matchups. Those are fun. Yeah, so it would have been a lot of fun. But I'm kind of glad he wasn't there because it's one less person that the Jets had to bring to the table.
If I could interject for a moment,
go ahead.
He got absolutely burned by DeAndre Hopkins against Houston a couple of weeks ago. As bad as I've ever seen Revis.
Oh.
And, it was almost like a dog that you're going to take out back and you're not going to tell the kids about. That's what it was like. So I'm kind of happy that he didn't play.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So it's like Fido ran away. Exactly. You don't want to tell the kids. First quarter, Jets field goal. That's really all we saw. Second quarter, Dwayne Harris returns a punt for 80 yards to open up the quarter, 7-3. I believe he dabbed at the end of it. Simon, you're young and hip. Was that a dab by Dwayne Harris?
Oh, he was doing the dab all right. He's not doing the Cam dab. Cam does the full dab. He's in the end zone for 30 seconds. Never gets a penalty. But, Woody Johnson actually murdered the dab after yesterday. So I don't want to see anybody dabbing. I don't want to see anybody doing the electric slide. Nothing. Woody Johnson just killed it all. I want all the teenagers to pick a new dance. That's it.
Right. No, I agree with that. Let's see here. I'm going to have to look at this.
The wonders of technology. That's me.
It's Mark. Okay, so I didn't have to actually stop it. There's Mark. All right, so Mark, we were just talking about Dwayne Harris dabbing on that 80-yard punt return for the touchdown. You look at a situation like this, everyone wants to talk about the big call at the end of the game, the fourth down that Coughlin decided to go for. In that second quarter, it's 7-3, 4th and goal, and they decide to kick the field goal. Did you think they should go for it there?
I think you got to take the points to a certain extent. Look, I'm not an NFL coach.
You're not?
I'm not. I've never coached anywhere, but to me, it's like take the points when you can. It's funny at the beginning of the show today when everybody was talking about, or not even yesterday. Oh, why did they go for it? Or even yesterday. I mean, I guess we're always going to look back at it, hindsight. I have to say. Sometimes I'm not an NFL coach. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. No,
I'm in agreement.
I'm also. That's a fact. I think they should have gone for it early, but later on, I think you take the points. You take the points. Okay. But that's
was there anything? I mean, we're getting into the game here, and is there anything that really sticks out from both teams? I mean, for me, honestly, going into the game and seeing it, preview and then watching it. The pressure that was put on Eli, and because he couldn't hand it off, the main reason, the Giants' running game is just terrible. I was doing some research, and again, that's a luxury here at Red Ticket Blues. I was doing some research, and you realize that the Giants have the leading rusher for the entire year is 431 yards with Rashad Jennings, and their number 2 is Shane Vereen. Do you know who has rushed for more yards, just about the same yards as Shane Vereen this year? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, man.
Fitzmagic.
Exactly. So, I mean, the entire team this year for the Giants, every single player who has went on one play rushing, it's 1,057 yards. That's abominable. Is there anything else that really stuck out from you guys? I know this is sort of a very broad question. I mean, is there anything that really stands out to you, particularly defense, offense of your respective team? Mark, go for it.
Well, it was funny how the Giants on that drive that ended with the interception and the not taking the kick, they had that ball for so long, and what really stuck out for me was right before that play, like in the series of plays right before that ended up happening, the game just devolved into penalties upon penalties. The Giants are getting 15-yard holding penalties, and then the Jets are giving them automatic first downs, and it was just, I mean, I didn't go back and look at the count, but it seemed like there was 5 or 6 penalties in a row where they were just twisting and turning, so to speak. And it was just crazy. It was like, what is going on here? And I have to say, like, we go back to this whole mediocrity theme that we've been talking about. I mean, that just demonstrated to me, you get a break and then you give it right back. And they both did that back and forth. It was just ridiculous. That really annoyed me. I think I sent out a tweet at some point saying something to that effect, where it was very frustrating to watch it. And, the refs have been a factor this whole year too, but I mean, those were all on the players. Those weren't ticky tacky plays. Those were legit penalties, and it was just not good to see. Thinking back on it now, it really was foreshadowing of things to come, of the game just turning into a mess.
That's true. Simon, is there a specific, set of the team, defense, offense, special teams that stuck out to you in this game that really played well for the Jets?
For the Jets, it was definitely Fitzpatrick throwing that one post route to Decker for all of the fourth quarter and overtime, and it worked like a T. The Giants could not defend it. He had fantastic. Bilal Powell coming out of the backfield making some catches. The Jets have not had a guy in the backfield who could catch the ball in a very long time. And it was nice because he racked up 91 yards, and that took a lot of stress off Fitzpatrick throwing the deep ball to Marshall or Decker. From the Jets' offensive line, they were absolutely horrible. That was supposed to be a strength coming into the game, and the Giants just ran roughshod for at least the first half of the game. You saw JPP just doing whatever he wanted, and just, it looked like they were going to be in for a very long day. But eventually they gave Fitzy a little pass protection, and for what it's worth, he stepped up. He did not throw any interceptions. He did not make any stupid passes. A very low-risk game from him, and he ended up racking up a lot of yards, so he did well.
Yeah, you bring up the running game, Simon. I mean, Chris Ivory, it seems like just because he takes so much contact that you feel like he listen, he had a great game last week, but I mean, I thought he had a great game yesterday, and then I looked at the numbers. Quite pedestrian, rushing for 47 yards, receiving for 22. You bring up Bilal Powell. I mean, he made up for Willie Colon's ridiculous penalty, 25-yard TD reception, first ever, and he had a pretty good day, 91 yards receiving, 17 rushing. Simon, you think this was Powell's best game as a Jet?
I do, and I think that he's going to get more reps going forward. He's been kind of buried on the depth chart the last couple of years, but I think Ivory is running out of gas, and that is because of the style he plays. He's a hard-nosed runner. You see how much contact he makes on literally every play. He's just a violent player. They always say that about him. And
Which is such a compliment. He's a violent player.
I guess in football. I mean, if he was like a violent figure skater, it'd be bad.
As long as you keep it on the field, I guess you're okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's just so odd having them describe. Oh, how would you describe him? Oh, he's violent. Oh.
He runs with hate. It's always like these really harsh adjectives. But he's just a little cooked at this point, I think, from taking so much contact. So you're going to see Powell getting the ball a little bit more. The question is, can he actually rack up as many yards as Ivory can on the ground? If not, they're going to be throwing a lot more balls his way. So
it was funny that you mentioned that, because the first drive when the Jets got their first field goal, Ivory was just killing it. He was just pushing them down the field.
Yeah.
To use another analogy, killing it. Right. We're doing a really good job over here. But so
Ivory,
I know, right? So Ivory's just driving them down the field, and then they get to like the 18-yard line, and they go 3 and out, and they have to kick the field goal. And I was half paying, so I was a little bit paying attention. You know how it is. And so I'm like, I sent out a tweet like, oh, well, Ivory drove them all the way down, and then all of a sudden, where is he? They go 3 and out, and they have to kick the field goal. He's on the sideline getting attention. I have to give credit to @JForma, Forma, said to me, oh, he's on the sideline getting attention, and I'm like, oh, well, and it goes to show you like the physical nature of the sport, and the way Ivory just goes out like he runs at you like a wrecking ball. It took its toll on him a little bit, because then he's not on the field. He was on a roll, and so I just thought I'd interject that.
No, you're totally right. And I mean, because of that, you saw more Bilal Powell, and Powell's touchdown made it a 10-10 game. And right after that, Beckham comes in with that 72-yard pass, and he is just lightning quick, goes by everybody, and does some sort of, I don't know if that was a choreographed dance, some sort of Peter Pan thing where he jumped in the air over and over again the length of the end zone.
It was the hurdles. It was for his mom.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was his mom and dad both went to LSU. His mom was a hurdler, They were talking about it on the broadcast.
Yeah,
yesterday.
see, I was in a bar and there was no sound on, so now I feel a little better then. Okay.
Yeah, they were talking about it. His mom was a hurdler, and they were talking about how his mom runs his businesses for him and stuff, which is, all right. Can you be in the league more than 1.5 years before you have businesses and all this side stuff? Which that's just a whole other thing.
Yeah,
Cruz got into it, and look where he is. He's sitting there nursing his calf 2 years later.
On Twitter today, I saw he's pushing Snickers bars. That guy does not stop. He did.
Are they good for calf injuries? I hear that
he's going to need something more than Snickers bars to get back on the field. Maybe another documentary.
Dorn, I liked you better when you were just a ball player.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh, that's such a good line. That really is. Mark, let's see. Quickly. You have to be. We're talking about Odell Beckham. I mean, I couldn't understate this more than I could possibly imagine. But you have to be excited. Odell Beckham is actually. It's not a sophomore jinx. This guy is amazing. You saw the second half of last year. I mean, he really is that good. You have to be excited. Duh.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to break another Mike reference, but yes, he's great. And his rookie year last year, I mean, only playing 12 games, having such a phenomenal. If you look at rookie seasons up and down the NFL, he's up there with Randy Moss and the greats. He's up there with the greats. Jerry Rice. If you look at the all-time rookie seasons, he's there. And like you said, thankfully, it's not a sophomore jinx. It would be great if they had the 1-2 punch of him and Cruz. You could only imagine what it would be, but they don't. So you can't draw that.
You can only imagine. You can't really.
Only imagine. Imagine. Just that's for every. Okay, I'm gonna leave that Easter egg there for a few people. But so yeah, it was it's great, and happy to have him. And I'd like to see a little bit less of the off the field stuff. I understand these guys like to capitalize as much as they can. I mean, I guess I'd probably be doing the same thing. So who the fuck am I to talk?
Yeah, I mean, Beckham, if anyone loves Odell Beckham, it's Odell Beckham. There's no doubt about that. He's his biggest fan. He's his biggest fan without a doubt. So after that, the Giants threw another field goal. At that point, Josh Brown was still perfect and 20-10 at halftime. So how are you guys feeling at halftime? Good, bad, drunk, indifferent?
I was feeling pretty bad. I really thought that this was going to be a long day. The way they were getting at Fitzpatrick, the punt return, there was so many bad things going against the Jets' favor. Maybe it's just recollection now to think that they were going to get crushed, but it really wasn't looking good at halftime. I think it was 20-10. There was nothing positive coming from the Jets side.
Mark?
Well, Simon is such a defeated Jets fan. It's amazing. I was feeling good.
Sort of redundant,
I'm feeling pretty good today. I don't know.
No, yeah, I bet. But I mean, at halftime, I felt like, okay, they were getting to Fitzpatrick, but he was still throwing the ball. And he was still, I mean, that guy is tough as shit. It's amazing. Like, he just kicks hits and hits. And they were even commenting on the broadcast, like, when he slid one time, instead of, like, just keep going and, like, taking the hit, they were like, wow, a slide from Fitzpatrick.
One of the first plays of the game, exactly. Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts were like, whoa.
What the heck is this? I felt really good. I felt like, we were lucky, but at the same time, I was in the moment. So in retrospect, I'm thinking to myself, we got lucky as hell on two big plays. I mean, not lucky.
Super Bowls or?
Bam!
Sorry, no, there was more than a few of those plays that went into that. No, but the Beckham catch and the Harris return. I mean, if it wasn't for that, what did the Giants really have at halftime? But at the time, I felt like this is good. Like I was like we're rolling along. Obviously, as a Giants fan this year, you have to be cognizant of the fourth quarter woes. Yeah. I actually read earlier today that, or it was yesterday at some point, where the Giants are the only team to lose 5 games where they were leading within 2 minutes of the end of the game.
That's just insane.
The only other time that it ever happened was the 2000 Chargers, and they went 5-11, and they fired their coach at the end of the year. So that just gives you a little bit more foreshadowing of what's going to happen. But I was feeling good, and that's what made it even worse at the end, the way that they blew it. It's like, I would rather be involved with a game where my team blows it on one play rather than a series of miscues like they've been doing this year. And it sucks.
Going back into, so the Giants and Jets, they start the second half. Third quarter was pretty much a snooze fest. Not much happened at all. But why bury the lead here? Tom Coughlin, 9 minutes left, 4th and 2. Eli throws the interception, picked off by Miles. It's classic second guessing. It's fodder for sports radio. It's what sports radio was invented for. Both of you, what are you thinking when Eli walks up to the line for 4th down? We'll start with Simon.
Well, I was excited because they weren't taking the points, but I think more people are actually blaming Coughlin, rightfully so, because that was just a horrible coaching move. But nobody's really blaming Eli for throwing another red zone interception.
True.
That's all this guy does lately. He just throws picks in the red zone. And the fact that you don't have a running game, because I think if they still had like that Brandon Jacobs, Bradshaw, or somebody of that ilk, maybe you pound the ball on 4th and 2 and see what happens, because at least then they would be pinned back at the 4-yard line or something. And the Jets were stuck deep in their own zone a lot of times in the first half. So if there wasn't an interception there, the Jets would have been all the way back and would have had to march upfield. It would have been different. But him throwing the interception, it was the optics of it were really bad. I could see what Coughlin was thinking, because then you go up 3 possessions. I mean, the game is absolutely done at that point. I understand what he was doing, but, kick the field goal.
Mark?
No comment.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Really?
What do you want me to say?
I want you to bash Tom Coughlin. I want you to say, wow, what an idiot. Eli's horrible, throwing another interception like usual. How is this guy going to go in the Hall of Fame one day? I want you to say all that. That's what I want you to say.
So Coughlin sucks. He never should have been coaching the Giants to begin with. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just doing a shtick. But Tom Coughlin has had an interesting career with the Giants, to say the least. I mean, you got to remember they won the first Super Bowl that they won, and then they had like 2 out of 3 mediocre seasons, and then they were able to come back in it and do it. Like, if you look at his coaching record with the Giants, it's there. They've had their runs, and like Simon would say, they got very lucky a couple times. But
no comment on that.
No comment. All right, sure. So when they won it a couple times, that was great, And when he called the throw, I was like, all right, fine, go for it, fine. But for Eli to throw the pick right there when he's actually been really good this year, it just, I mean, when the pick happened, my mind immediately turned to, they're going to run this pick all the way back. Like, it's going to be Victor Cruz in 2011, like in reverse, That's what my mind immediately turned to. And when they tackled the defender, I forget who picked it.
Miles.
When they tackled him, I was like, thank God that they tackled him. I was just like, it was like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? And then relief that, to me, the sensors in my brain were like, something bad just happened, and it's going to be even worse in a minute. So that was where I was at that moment.
I'm going to ask you about the sensors in your brain a little bit more here.
That's not going to be a good thing.
So you see the marquee wide receivers for the Jets come up big in the 4th quarter on that field goal drive. I mean, Decker and Marshall was just pick, boom, boom, boom. They were going through and made it very simple. The Giants get the ball back, and just an awful 3 and out. A run for nothing, a run for 4, and then Eli, Simon brought up how, Eli doesn't get a lot of blame for stuff. He didn't get a lot of blame for a terrible throwaway on 3rd down to stop the clock. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left for the Jets. At this point, Mark, did you feel it slipping away at this point? I mean, did you think the classless Jets were going to tie this up?
It wasn't good, Brian. It was... Yeah, I did feel that way. That was a tough spot right there, and I heard a lot of things like take the sack, don't take the sack. I mean, your field position, it didn't feel good. I mean, I didn't say I felt like it was going to slip away necessarily, but it just
Answer the question.
Answer the question. No, yes. I mean, to a certain, I'll give it a 50-50. It was there. I mean, part of me as a fan doesn't want it to be, so I'm just gonna like kind of push that to the back of the brain, so to speak. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. But at this point, I mean, it's 101. Let's see. We got 101 left. 4th and 6. Fitzpatrick puts his head down.
I'm having flashbacks
at the
here.
Giants 36. Puts his head down like a man. And you know why he's a man? Because he has a beard. And you notice none of us have beards. We're not men. So Simon,
I have a goatee now, Brian.
Okay, well, you might need to get the full beard like Fitzpatrick. I know he trimmed it, but it's still full and bushy.
I could never do that.
Yeah, it's way too itchy. I don't know how people do it. Simon.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Ryan,
Simon, you still there? Go ahead.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, on that play, that sort of exemplified the kind of just headiness and aggressiveness that he's done all year, and he's making people forget Geno Smith existed, which isn't that hard to do. But what are your thoughts on Fitzpatrick? How have they changed at all throughout the year at all?
Well, Fitzpatrick has actually surpassed my expectations, and I think that of a lot of people. Nobody would have been talking about a contract extension for this guy at the beginning of training camp. And you see the play that he made yesterday on 4th and 6. It's indicative of what he's done all year. This guy just sacrifices his body left and right. He's getting his noggin absolutely cracked every game. But he's gritty, he's a gamer, and all those adjectives. But it's true, he really is. This guy isn't going to take the slide and come up 2 yards short on first down. He will absolutely put his head down and get those last few yards that you need. And they needed somebody like that. And also, he actually has been not as bad that I thought he was going to be throwing into coverage. I know he had a very bad reputation as somebody who threw a ton of interceptions, and you saw that a few weeks ago. He will throw the occasional bad pick. But for the most part, he's been very accurate. And he's actually on pace to have the best Jets season in history, which is pretty pathetic and sad.
Whoa, is that really true? What do you mean
really
best Jets season? Like, what do you mean best?
Most passing yards in a season by Jets quarterback, and he's actually on pace to break Vinny Testaverde's record for touchdowns thrown in a season. So,
wow,
wow,
Fitzmagic.
That's amazing! Holy crap!
I don't know. I don't know what to be happy or sad about that, but it's. I mean, when you have no good quarterbacks for the better part of 50 years, we're still celebrating friggin' Joe Namath, pointing his finger in the air with the Orange Bowl. So
someone needs to call Boomer about that one.
I know. Yeah, you've got a better quarterback than Boomer. He's the best. He's actually the best quarterback right after Joe Namath. That's it. It's Joe Namath and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who knew?
So Fitzpatrick throws interception. He throws that touchdown to Brandon Marshall, who had an amazing game, 12 receptions, 131 yards. And, the Giants get the ball back. I mean, I realize there's not enough time, but they make no attempt to even get in field goal range. I hate that conservative bullshit. So we get to OT. Again, the big receivers for the Jets making big catches, and they get down to, I think they get to 1st and goal. So I'll ask you, Simon, you had to be livid. The Jets had to settle for a field goal there.
I was, especially because they were the number 1 team in the red zone coming into the game, scoring percentage. So naturally, I thought they were going to put up a TD there, end the game, and Fitzpatrick was on a roll. He had one bad pass he threw behind Decker's shoulder, so then it became 2nd down. Eventually, you just saw it was unraveling, and it was going to lead to a field goal, and you started getting the sinking feeling in your stomach, like, what the fuck are you doing? You couldn't just get into the end zone. Come on, man. But I was actually just happy to take the field goal at that point. I thought Randy Bullock was going to kick it into Delaware, and then the Giants were going to get the ball back, But that was actually a pretty good drive right up until they got into the red zone, and you started getting a little nervous after that. You put 3 on the board and you give the ball back to Eli. I wasn't feeling too great then.
So the Giants, they get the ball. Obviously, they get the chance to retaliate. They make very little progress in their possession. 29 total yards through the air and 4 yards on the ground. Sets up a 48-yard kick for Josh Brown, who's perfect on the season, and we know the rest. So, emotions after the game, drastically different. Obviously, they're 2 different teams. Simon, you already gave us a little sneak peek of what you did. You shamed your friend and you yelled and screamed, and I hope it was pretty brutal.
Oh, it was absolutely brutal. He'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I was on the phone. I was literally running a lap in a circle outside. I almost just blacked out from there. It was amazing. I thought he was going to make it. So, and then that would have created a whole other situation, but he didn't. We won 23-20, and the Empire State Building was lit in green and white last night. That's all I know.
Mark, you got into it a little as well. Were you able to eat dinner? Was it?
I enjoyed my dinner very much. Like I said, I put it past me, and Yeah. Simon,
Yes.
if you
Yes.
ever, yes, when your team wins the Super Bowl, I think you're probably just going to do a Forrest Gump scenario where you just like run cross country, because that's the real elation of winning a Super Bowl is much more than just that. So
I'll say this: I am surprised, and it has nothing to do with you, Mark, personally.
I didn't bring it up previously.
You just representing a Giants fan that it took that long for Super Bowl titles to just sort of be thrown in the fence.
Let me just put it this way, all right? So when I first met my soon to be ex-wife, whatever, I'm gonna just put it out there on the fucking Red Ticket Blues.
Wow, breaking.
Well, it's whatever.
Well, not really breaking
It's
at all.
It's not breaking for you two. So the first year we met was the year that the Giants won the first Super Bowl, and one of the first times I hung out with my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, soon to be, whatever, or like future. We hung out and watched the Giants Super Bowl, and I just went ballistic like the entire time, and I can't believe it actually ended up being that we got married, because I was a madman. It was maddening. Like when the helmet catch happened, Simon. The helmet catch, yes. When we had that was 10 times what you did yesterday. So I'm just going to put it out there.
It was the fakest moment in the history of anything. That was so fraudulent, and you deserved nothing. I rooted for the Pats. I rooted for the Pats like they were on my own team.
Like a fraud.
For both of those games. That's how much I hated the Giants. And, of course, the football gods had to spite me and let them win. And don't worry. You're going to roll to another fake 8-8 division title and get to the playoffs. So don't worry about it. You're going to win the 8-8 NFC East. And then all of a sudden magic's going to happen. Hakeem Nicks is going to catch one off his foot. Don't worry. You guys are sad today. You got still plenty of season left.
Oh, that's great. I hope the pounding my kitchen counter just picked up for
it absolutely did. Oh yeah.
Good. Yes. That was exactly the what I was trying to induce there. So all the love, Simon.
You did a great job. Right.
So we're talking playoffs here. We're talking playoffs.
Playoffs.
That's right. We're
talking playoffs.
It was obligatory. I had to do it.
Playoffs of yesteryear. So we'll go with Mark first. We talked about this division that the Giants are in is absolutely abominable. It's a piece of shit. So going forward,
wow, that's strong.
Hey, come on, tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong. No, you're not wrong.
Okay,
that's what I'm doing.
Go
ahead.
We'll start with you, Mark, as your team is more pathetic. Do the Giants make the playoffs?
No. What are you smoking over there, Brian? No.
So
they don't make the playoffs. No, I don't. I mean, if they did, where are they going? If they do,
You're absolutely right.
Well, he took two mediocre teams to the Super Bowl before, so they're probably going back to the Super Bowl. Don't forget, you were 7-7 in 2011 before you got that.
They were 5-7.
Were they 5-7 that year?
No, but they're 5-7 now.
I know, but what I'm saying is they were mediocre even in the years that they won the Super Bowl. They win a couple of games and get in there.
No, they had to, it was different. It was different levels of talent. This is not one of those teams. It's not.
You don't think so? No team of destiny.
Tom Coughlin no longer coaches the team. Didn't you hear it earlier?
Someone needs to tell him.
I know. It's like somebody needs to change the placard on the head coach's office.
It's gonna be like Milton from Office Space. He's gonna end up like coaching this team from the basement or something.
So Simon, I'll ask
Ernie Adams scenario, right?
I'll ask you a similar question, Simon. If the playoffs started today, the Jets are in, but obviously they don't start today. Do you see the Jets making moves in the postseason? Do you see them there?
I do think they can get to the postseason. They have a somewhat favorable schedule. If you look, they have the Titans, who actually played a pretty good game. I mean, Mariota looked great. Did it warm my heart to know that if we just lost that game against the Titans last year, we would have Mariota at quarterback, but I digress. You play the Titans, you play the Cowboys. The Pats are obviously the Pats. They're in a little bit of a slide. We played them well last time. You chalk that up as a loss, but then you play the Bills. So that's 3 out of the last 4 games that are very winnable. You add 3 to their win total. I mean, that should be good enough for a wild card spot. Though they do lose tiebreakers to everybody, so it is important that they win these games.
Right. That Patriots game, you got to think a lot of the guys are going to be, I know you marked it down as a loss, but you got to think a lot of the wide receivers are probably going to be a lot healthier, maybe even playing by then. So who knows? Gentlemen, that's all I have. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience of millions around the globe?
If I could interject as the winner, I will take this from here.
That's right.
Wow.
I was happier that was one of the best Jet wins I ever saw in my life. I was so happy to stick it to this arrogant franchise. They walk around like they are the king turd of shit island. The only thing that family produced that was of anything worthy was Rooney Mara because she's hot. I'm so sick of arrogant Giants fans.
Sorry.
The arrogance that they have. You guys missed the playoffs, those bad teams in the 70s. You guys realize the Jets had more Super Bowls than them until they won in 86, right? The last three were fraudulent, with the Norwood missed kick, helmet catches, everybody rolls over and dies for them, that Manningham over-the-shoulder catch, Wes Welker botching the football on third down. They should have lost 1,000,001 times in both of those playoff runs. It's illegitimate. It's 1-1 as far as legit titles go. 1-1. That's it. And now we are the Kings of New York, at least temporarily. Okay? Mark, you may go ahead and make your point.
Can you at least drop a I'm Jim Rome at the end of that?
Wow.
CBS Sports Radio.
That was tremendous.
Mark, you have a daunting task right now. Trying to follow that.
You know what? I'm gonna pull what Simon would hate the most right now, and I'm just gonna say 4 Super Bowl championships. And they tried to. I was gonna bring up. I actually had this little article that I posted about like the. You guys mentioned it earlier about how the beating the Giants was more important than winning the '69. The Super Bowl III championship. I mean, are you serious? Like, you won the Super Bowl and you're worrying about that, and then just a bunch of other stuff. I mean, like, it's still the little brother. It's still always going to be the little brother, and that's and I have to give Simon credit. That was an impassioned and amazing thing, and I'm not crazy enough to actually try to figure out how to top that because Simon killed it. So all the love, Simon. We talk about the rivalry. We talk shit. All the love. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Just so you guys know, Zach Greinke has passed his physical. He's now a D-back. I'm sure you were on pins and needles.
He's now a douchebag? Oh, yeah, wow.
That's D-bag, same thing. Well, I want to thank both you guys for being on, and a lot of great stuff. I mean, I really mean that. A lot of very passionate opinions, as you could just hear from Simon, but from both you guys. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. Mark, thank you for being on the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Simon, thank you for being on the podcast.
Always, boys. Thanks.
And best of luck to both your teams going forward. So there you have it, Mark and Simon breaking down the game only the way they can. They gave the sports any way that they can. They're very much like other people. I hope everyone enjoyed that. They gave a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight, and a lot of comedy too. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Some true passion from some true fans. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube. Follow me at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues on Twitter. Follow on Facebook. Leave a review everywhere you want. Just leave it anywhere. Just go to random comment message board and just give me reviews. So with all that being said, I'm out of here.